like to start with what I know and then work towards what I don't know. I wanted to take the formality of the house and the informality of the woods and kind of make the two combine. I'd like to show you how not to mulch around a tree. It's a step that I see very few landscapers doing. You want to make sure to have variation in your heights. Look at how lovely this is. We just cued the butterfly to come in. It's about 6.5 hours since I arrived this morning, and I just want to show you guys this is how much water I drank today. I got quite a bit done. I'm happy to say that almost all the plants are in on the bank over here. I planted some more over there, so I'm thinking next week will come. I've got a few more perennials I need to get, and I have some Vinca ground cover I got to get in. But next week, maybe one day, 3/4 of a day planting, and then one day mulching, and we should be all set. So I'm going to say maybe a couple more days, and this job we should be put to bed. So we got our 3 boxwood in on the side over here, and I think you'll agree that that really softens the concrete. You know, when you come to the driveway. And I know I talked about this yesterday, but these are fastigic boxwood, so they're going to stay narrower and they're not going to grow out into the driveway. And then we have that little fairy rose over there, which will fill in this bottom place very nicely. And I think I'm going to take a few Vinca and plant some Vinca here to have that growing over the wall and soften the wall too. Got some more Vinca coming in this bed. And then I transplanted this shrub from the outside, the backyard. It's a euonymus. I'm not sure which cultivar it is, but this is yet another sign that there's no deer in this neighborhood, because if there were deer, they would have just eaten this to sticks. But with the euonymus and the boxwood, now when you're walking this way, we've also softened up the concrete steps. I've got a few Vinca going in over here, and then in the front of the planting, here, you know, I've got the yellow of the gold mop chamaecyparis, I've got the yellow of the euonymus, I've got the yellow of the hinoki cypress. So I'm thinking I'm going to get some red colors through here for a little bit of contrast. I can pick up on the red of the redbud as well, but I'm thinking some coral bells. There's some really nice cultivars with some really nice colors that I think I'll do like 5 and 5 over here, and then one grouping of 3 perennials in this back corner right here, right where that clay is. 5 and 5, and then 3 perennials there. And I'm thinking like a yarrow might be nice over here. Yarrow's got a longer bloom. I could do like a pinkish or reddish color, again to punch up a little bit of contrasting color. Okay, bank is looking great. I got all the ground covers in. Now when we come back next time, we're going to go ahead and pull all these tags. We're going to rake out the beds, smooth things out. We're going to go ahead and cut a nice fresh edge on all these beds so you have a good contrast between the grass and the mulch. And then we'll also clip off any branches that may have broken in the process of moving these shrubs, and also you know, planting them. So you know, and then as time goes by, these plants will just grow together, and you'll barely see any mulch in this garden. You'll just see the shrubs acting as a ground cover. And then back here we've got our Fothergilla in. And I think I said already, we'll pull all these tags. It bothers me when I come to a landscape and I see all these tags. Rather than noticing the plants, all I notice is the tags. And then underneath these cherry trees, we've got a whole bunch of Vinca going in. And then I know the design included a bench under the tree and some stepping stones, but I don't think we were including that in the first round. But you know, right where that hole is, what a beautiful spot to just sit, and you're looking back, so you'd be sitting over here and your view would be back towards the yard. So at the end of the day, you can kind of take in the property. I think that's just a really nice spot to gather your thoughts. And one thing I did want to show you guys is I mentioned not putting your equipment on the lawn so you don't, damage the lawn. Well, I must have left the bucket. It must have gotten hot in the sun and then parked the machine. And this is actually like burned out from the heat of the bucket, or maybe the bucket was sitting there and the sun was that hot. But this is why I try not to park equipment on the lawn. Stuff like this happens. I know I dug up the lawn in a couple places with the auger as well. But luckily we're away from the house, but heaven forbid I left the machine sitting by the sidewalk. You really don't want to leave your customer with the impression of a burnt out piece of grass. And that will, 2 or 3 weeks, you won't know that happened. It'll grow back. Okay, and then over here, the redbud, it's a cloudy day now. There's supposed to be some showers coming in. The leaves on the redbud look great now, but when the sun is beating down on this redbud, it did lose some roots in the process. It was healed in very nicely, so it had all those fine fibrous roots. And then when I planted it, I ended up cutting off quite a bit of them. So when it's sunny out, the leaves on this redbud they're wilting. And as time goes by, this redbud's going to be fine, but it just needs to get those roots established again. So I've been trying to keep plenty of water on it so that the roots that are there can soak up that water as well as possible. And then we did take all the plants I dug out at the beginning of the job. I had 4 rhododendrons that were on the hillside. I had the two hosta in front of the house and the 1 azalea in front of the house. We just created this nice little bed over here, which I'll go ahead and edge out. And my purpose of this bed is there's some conduit back there. There's a plug and some other conduit, and we just want to kind of block it out. That's just enough height where your eyes are going to focus more on the rhododendrons and the conduit back there. And as time goes by, that'll just get bigger, and it, rather than just having the house right down to the lawn, and it's we're 2 stories high here. We've got these shrubs, and if I was going to design this from scratch, or phase 2, with a 2-story house like this, I would definitely have, right where this hosta is, I would definitely have a nice small flowering tree or an upright flowering tree to kind of bring that back down to scale a touch. But right now we were just looking for a good use for these plants. I think they kind of add, we've got a little picnic table over here, so they kind of add to the park-like setting. So now when you come out and you're having your dinner at this picnic table, you're looking over at these beautiful gardens over here. You're looking over at the beautiful gardens over here, and then you've got the beautiful view of this hillside we just put in. And then as time goes by, it's just going to keep filling in and filling in. So folks, it's a Friday night. It's about 7 o'clock, and I think we're going to get the heck out of here. One interesting thing about being self-employed, as long as I can remember, Fridays always end up being a longer day for me. And maybe I'm just a poor time planner or poor time management. But even when I had a couple guys working with me, Fridays always seem like the day I know where I want to be on a job, and maybe I'm just being too ambitious. But I always end up using Fridays as the day to get to where I want to be, so I can make Monday an easier day, so I don't face my Monday going, oh my goodness, I've got all this work to get done. So that's why it's about 7 o'clock in the evening. And the good news is we've got overcast skies. For the last 3 hours or so, it's been overcast. It's supposed to be showery, possibly thunderstorms for the next few days, which is great for the landscape. Everything's in. But, that's just one of the joys of being self-employed. For better, for worse, I don't know. I find after about 5 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock, when the sun starts to go down, it gets kind of quieter, and I find my peace, I find my zen. And I did all that bed on the side of the house. I ended up installing that after 5 o'clock, and it was really relaxing, believe it or not. So anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Still feeling good. The throat's feeling good. And we'll see you folks next time we're here. Have a wonderful night.